What is cooking, beautiful people? Welcome back to the show. Thanks for dropping in today and taking a listen. As always, massive shout out to you guys that continue to listen, support, comment, send me notes. Except for Jared. I'm gonna talk about that Joker in a minute. But yeah, thank you guys. You guys are absolutely the coolest people on the planet, and it means the world when I get a little text message or a email or a DM or somebody comments on the face space page. Really means the world. You guys are absolutely awesome, and I don't know why you listen, but I'm glad you do. It gives me something to talk about, and just means the world. And I'm glad I can drop into your headset, into your iPhone, and bring you a little bit of a chuckle or two, maybe a thought that is provoking, or just some absolute nonsense. And speaking of that, let's dive in. So my meme of the week, and these are easy, right? Like the face space, the Instagram, those guys, they just serve them up. But I love this one for a lot of different reasons. And so the meme basically said, don't put your drama on social media and then tell us to mind our own business. Listen, lady, I'm on season 2, episode 3 of your nonsense. I mean, absolutely hysterical and reality. Some of you guys are out there just sharing way too much stuff on social media. I'm thinking of one story in particular right now about a marital situation that just, I mean, got absolutely unhinged super quick. And I was like, what are these people even doing? And then the comments, I mean, that's where the magic is, really. If you want to dive into the comedic nature of the internet, like social media in general, it's the comments that are just hysterical. Like there are some wild ass people out there that I don't know if they just sit around all day. And I really I've never dove, taken a dive, whatever the right word is there, into this depth of social media nonsense until I started doing the show. And now I kind of look for silly things to talk about. But I mean, the comments are undefeated. I mean, some of them are just radical. And I'm not even talking just on a post like this, but I mean, you can only imagine when you see people like just serving their personal life up on a silver platter, and then other people just absolutely go into town on it. It's it's pure shenanigans, absolute ridiculous, and you know, if you're into comedic banter and just watching people be absolutely rogue and wild, it's I mean, it's there for us. I mean, served up on a silver platter. So I thought that one was funny because it is true. It's like, people are always like, mind your business. I'm like, listen, you're posted everything about. I'm gonna talk a lot about this today because there's another thing coming up in a minute about social media that I wrote down this week that just absolutely cracks me up. But my backup meme of the week, and this because these people crack me up because they're the most fragile of all. But in my experience, you guys have all seen this post, and it basically just says like, I'm unf-withable, like, unblankable, meaning like you can't f with me, like I'm rock solid, blah blah blah. In my experience, these people who post stuff like this about how unblankable they are, they're the easiest to F with. You know what I mean? Like they're the most fragile, sensitive, overblown everything of everybody on the internet. And it just cracks me up. Every time I see this post now, I just take a little bit of a dive into like their profile. And every single time it's an unhinged human, just an unhinged. I mean, you think about it, it's on their page. And most of them don't have an actual photo of themselves as their, I don't know, whatever you call that thing, your avatar photo or your whatever. It's usually a picture of like a stuffed animal, like a teddy bear, some kind of like weird anime something. Like it's just never real, right? It's never the real person. But you go to their page and it's just they're definitely F-withable, 100%. Let's talk about Jared before we get too deep into this. So, as I said, I appreciate you guys, the feedback, the comments, the likes, the everything. Unbelievable. Say about this Joker. So, every week I get I'm looking at my phone right now if you guys are watching on the YouTube. I get a podcast reactions and comments. These are his words, not mine. Podcast reactions and comments text message from this Joker. what he liked about the show, what he didn't like about the show, things that he would like to elaborate on, etc., etc., etc. And then at the bottom, he says, maybe I'll make my own podcast and call it Jared's Reactions with a laughing face. This guy's out of control. Absolutely out of control. I mean, listen, some of the stuff he wrote was funny. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like let's see, he talked to, but I can't even say that. So you can't even say some of the stuff you want me to say. I can't even say. So let's just say he's got a problem. And I expect this week to be no different. I'm going to get some kind of ridiculous text message about something I said or something. He says the only acceptable order at Starbucks is a large dark roast with 2 shots of espresso. Well, I mean, I agree with you. I could handle a coffee like that. Most people can't, Jared. That would send most people to the moon. You know how much caffeine that is? What else did he say? Blah, blah, people are into. Okay. Okay. I mean, he did think the jalapeno analogy was funny. He said, you've been burning my ass for 8 years and I keep coming back for more. What does that say about me? Exactly. My point 100%. Guy's got an absolute problem, but just wanted you guys to know that of what I have to deal with on a weekly basis, but just by doing the show. So just know that I'm being harassed. Some might even say stalked by the guy. So it's questionable. I may or may not get the authorities involved. We'll see. So speaking of obnoxious and sometimes just downright out of control, I got a dog park story for you. So I go on like a 3 mile walk every day, and I'm lucky enough there's a park really close to my house that has a nice walking trail, whatnot. So I usually go over there every afternoon. Last week I was cruising over there and it was mayhem. Like these little dogs, like probably 20 of them, were just losing their mind. And there was one giant dog, like I think it was a lab, or just picture the biggest dog you can imagine. These little dogs are barking at the top of their lungs, acting ferocious. Like, if you let us out of here, we are going to wreck this big dog's life, which we all know is not going to happen. The big dog, completely unbothered, paid zero attention to these little jokers. And I just walked by and I thought to myself, that's the world we live in right now. Like that is the world we live in right now. It's a bunch of noise from a bunch of jokers that aren't going to do a damn thing. Like, if you pay attention to the people that are yelling and screaming the loudest about most things, they're the ones that do the absolute least. If they took every bit of that energy, all of that angst and all of that anger and all of that roar, whatever, and they just did the thing that they're mad that everybody's not doing, it would move the thing that they're mad about not moving along so far that they wouldn't even have anything to complain about. And then there's the rest of us that are like the big dog, just unbothered because we can't be like, I can't listen to that nonsense. Just go do something. Nothing chaps my ass more than somebody who just talks about shit. Like, I don't even care what it is. Like, go do it. Like, stop talking. Like, it's ridiculous. The loudest barkers, I always say the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. You know what I mean? Nobody's sitting courtside's ever booing. Watch a game. You pay attention. Watch a game. Anybody who's sitting courtside or anybody who's sitting in the suites is not booing anybody. They're just there to enjoy the game, right? The loudest boos always come from the jokers. Speaking of jokers, somebody stole my credit card. Not my actual credit card, but my actual credit card number, I guess. I don't even know how this happens, right? It's like I was looking at my statement the other day, and I'm like, Germantown Top Golf? Two things. Jay doesn't play golf anymore. And I'm definitely not in Germantown, Maryland. So somebody decided to, something how they got my credit card number in Germantown, Maryland. And the charges were weird. Like, I guess they try it to see if it's going to go through. One was like for $47, and the next one was like for $126, and there was like a $69, and then there was like 5 charges. I think the most expensive one was like $155. All on the same day. Well, no, that's not true. Like 4 of them were in the same day, and then they waited 3 days, and then went back to Top Golf. And I'm thinking, who loves Top Golf this much? Listen, if you're into the golf that much, maybe try to get a sponsor. Like maybe a Buzz Buddy, right? Like maybe if you're a golfer, if you're listening right now and you stole my credit card, let's do this. Buzz me, right? I mean, they took care of the charges. You didn't cost me anything. I'm assuming you got a little free Top Golf, maybe a little boozy booze out of it. I've never been to a Top Golf. I assume it's fun. But if you're looking for a sponsor, then maybe we do like a little deal, maybe a little Buzz Buddy sponsorship for you. I'll throw you a couple of ducats. I mean, you seem like an inventive human, right? You're willing to push the boundaries, which I could use a little promo action. But I mean, what are we doing? Like the guy on the phone, he's like, sir, are you sure this wasn't you? I said, listen, dude, I'm in Palm Springs, California. I'm definitely not in Maryland. And if I were, I wouldn't be at Top Golf. Like yeah, the last place you're probably going to find Jay Nixon is a Top Golf. I'm not saying if you invite me, well, that's not true. If you invited me, I wouldn't go. I probably wouldn't go. I mean, I might come have a couple pops. You know what I mean? I might come have a couple bevies, but I'm probably not going to swing it. Probably not get the sticks. I found that for golf, for me, just the risk versus reward. Like I pull a rib every single damn time. And I don't have the hands for it. I got these hands of like that have looked at have just been beaten with a mallet. I can't even grip the club appropriately. But it got me thinking. It got me thinking about two things. I used to play a lot of golf. When I used to, I consulted for this company that had a partnership with the NFL alumni. So we did all these things with the NFL and the NFL alumni. So the only time I was in Maryland was I went once. I went for the NFL Courage Awards. So the year that I was there, they had them in Baltimore, Maryland. It's called the Ed Block Courage Awards, and it's a yearly award that every team um, honors one player on that team that embodies the principles and sportsmanship of courage. So I'm at the NFL Courage Awards in Baltimore, and the whole thing got me thinking. I was telling Lori, it's like sometimes you just get this thing happens and it brings back all these memories. I haven't thought of this in forever, but so I fly into Baltimore, get to the hotel, and I'm this is me. I'm like the first thing I do, I go check out the gym, suspect, and I'm like maybe I'll go for a run. So I buzz down to the front desk and I'm like, hey, where I'm going to go for a run around here. And the guy at the front desk is like about to pick up the phone, slams the phone back down, looks me straight in the face. He said, sir, you're not going for a run. I'm like, I'm not. I got my gear on, my man. I thought maybe he's like thinking you're not a runner, which listen, I'm not built like a runner. I'm not the guy who's going to go out and hit a marathon. I'm just going to go for a stroll. He's like, no, that's it. You can't, sir, you're not the kind of person that should go for a run in this neighborhood. I was like, I thought I'm in a nice neighborhood downtown, my man. And he's like, just listen to me. Don't go for that run. He's like, it's not going to be worth it. It's not safe out there. I wouldn't recommend it. And I'm like, where am I at? Like, what are we doing here? So I go tell the boys like that night, I think we're having dinner or something. And they're like, oh yeah, you can't go for a run out there. That's not Baltimore downtown. Definitely not the place for you to be out strolling around after dark. And I'm like, what are we having here? What's going on? Don't leave the hotel type of thing. What they get me into here. But anyway, funny story about that. So that night they have a big celebration, awards, turns into karaoke. Let me give you a tip. If you've ever get the opportunity to karaoke with Cedric Benson, you guys probably don't know who that is, but Cedric used to be, he was a running back for the University of Texas, went on to play for the Cincinnati Bengals, but that joker can sing. Like homeboy, like put on a show at karaoke. And then it got me thinking as well, I got to hang out with all these NFL guys. So if you name a player, I've probably had dinner with them, a cocktail with them, um, something like I've been at an event with them, had a conversation, shook a hand, played golf, something of that nature. And what I learned really quick is I got to play golf or hang out with virtually all the guys that I grew up watching on TV, like Terry Bradshaw, um, Dan Marino, Lawrence Taylor, Barry Sanders, like you name it. Like I was around these guys all the time. And the thing about never meet your idols, and really I never idolized any of these guys. I'm not really a pedestalization guy. I don't really put people on pedestals, but they're just dudes. Most of them are a-holes, if we're just being 100% honest. Or maybe I'm an a-hole, they just didn't like me. But they're just people, right? They have their friends and you're not one of them. That's kind of the way it goes. But it got me thinking about the nice people always ask me, well, who was the nicest person you've ever met? And I wouldn't, well, the nicest guy I probably ever met he was a kicker, but I'm gonna tell you a story about kickers, like kickers and punters and things like that. The nicest people were the punters or the kickers. And I don't know if that's because they kind of feel like the outcast of the team a little bit, kind of one of those jobs where when I was in college, like the punters and the kickers never even really worked out with the team. They kind of did their own thing, like and kind of had their own like rituals and things like that. It was like, you know, they kind of were just like outliers. I mean, on the team, but never really, they didn't have to run with us. They didn't lift. They didn't do all the things. They were kind of like this like fragile unit. But the nicest people that I ever met working for the NFL were the punters and the kickers, specifically Robbie Gould. Robbie Gould went to Penn State. He was a kicker for San Francisco 49ers for a while, a few other teams. I think Robbie kicked for the Green Bay Packers. But one of the nicest dudes I ever met was Robbie Gould, kicker. So that answers your question. If you're wondering who's the nicest player, who's the biggest a-hole? Gosh, I hate shouting out people in a weird way. Let's just say played for a franchise in South Florida, never won a Super Bowl, in the Hall of Fame, quarterback, yada yada. I think he was number 13. We'll just leave it at that. Not a super nice dude. Speaking of football, something weird just went down. And I don't know, you guys probably don't keep up with football, but if you're into like the world of social media or like interviews or things like that, there was the weirdest interview that just happened this week on like CBS. And they interviewed Coach Bill Belichick. He's like the czar of NFL football. He was Tom Brady's coach for the New England Patriots. He's won more Super Bowls than any other head coach. Now he's the head coach for the University of North Carolina Tar Heels, 73 years old. They interviewed him on CBS, and he's got this 24-year-old girlfriend named Jordan Hudson. Jordan, Jordon, Jordan Hudson. Maybe she enunciates that O-N at the end. I'm not 100% certain. But it was the weirdest, creepiest interview that I've ever seen. And normally I wouldn't watch this, but I'm a huge football fan. When Bill Belichick, I'm like, why is Belichick doing an interview on CBS News, especially like a feel good? He's not an interview guy. Like this guy would like literally when the NFL media would interview him, he'd be like, yes, no, no, yes. Like, does not communicate. And this was no different. It was one of the worst interviews I've ever seen. The way he answered questions was so creepy. And then she was in the room with him the whole time. And it was like, the only reason I'm telling you this, it was so weird and so bizarre. If you've seen it, it was, and I can't figure it out is why I'm talking about it. It's like, it's one of those things that has me like things that make you go, huh, like what's going on here? First of all, 73-year-old dude, 24-year-old lady. I'm just not a huge fan of that. Like I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like I'm only 50 and there's no, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being 24, but I know at 50 years old, like I probably don't have a lot in common with a lot of 24-year-olds. I just probably don't. And I'm assuming at 73, I will have less in common with a 24-year-old at that stage. And I mean, Bill's not an overly attractive man, if we're just being honest and calling it like we see it. And the weirdness was they started pulling up like social media stuff, like he dressed up like a fisherman and she was a mermaid, and like they did a photo shoot on the beach with like him with a rod and reel catching her, like, and they were asking him about these photos and he just couldn't answer him. He's like, I know I'm on some of those platforms, but I don't really pay attention. It's like it was like he was like the most unintelligent person ever trying to answer these questions, and that's not him at all. Like this guy's a genius when it comes to football anyway. And like one of the most revered, highly respected. This would be like if you're in the science world, this would be like somebody who's won the Nobel Peace Prize, or like somebody who like is created that somebody who cured cancer, somebody who like did something like extravagant. Like this would be the equivalent of that interview. Like somebody like a Pulitzer Prize winning author, like a head of a country. Like this is Bill Belichick in the world of like United States sports and especially football. And it was wildly odd. And then they got to a question. They're like, well, hey, cool. Like, how'd you guys meet? And Jordan is sitting over like on the side, like, headphones on, like listening to the interview, and abruptly just says, we're not talking about that. And it was like, what is going? First of all, Bill, if you listen to stories about Belichick, like he commands the room. Like you don't, like nobody in the NFL is interrupting him when he's speaking. Nobody's talking over him. Nobody's in during a meeting or an interview screaming from the side. So it was just so peculiar. And he just sat there with a deer in the headlights look, like didn't say a word. It's like the creepiness of this whole thing has just got me absolutely baffled. I just can't put it together. I mean, the whole, supposedly they met when like she was like 19 or 20. And so that would make him like what, 68 or 69. It's like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. I mean, listen, I am wise enough as a maturing man. But age wise, obviously, I'm obviously not mature. If you're listening to this podcast, we've established that. But as a maturing man, I'm wise enough to understand that that is the whole age disparity, close enough, whatever. Thing is just bizarre. Now, I'm not saying that like a 73-year-old and a 24-year-old can't fall madly in love. I'm not saying that. I love love. I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure there's a thing in the world or something, but like I don't know. I mean, it just never really makes a whole lot of sense to me. And it wouldn't make sense to me if it was in reverse either. You know what I mean? Like if it was a 73-year-old female and a 24-year-old dude, like it's just, I mean, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I'm using air quotes there. It just baffles me a little bit. Yeah, I get dumbfounded. All right, moving on. I usually talk about stuff that I see at the gym, something wacky, something. I'm going to give you guys a public service announcement. And I kind of did that last week, telling you what not to do at the gym. I'm going to give you guys another of what not to do. Today I go into the gym, and I've never really thought about this before. And I'm walking up to the urinals. Urinals are fixed. Thank God that I don't have to go into the stall and watch and look at somebody's lunch on the ground while I use the restroom. So every dude that was in the urinals I'm walking up is one hand on the phone, other hand doing the business. And it just hit me. You should never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, ask a dude if you can borrow his phone. It just hit me today out of nowhere. I just like, I got to tell people about this. Ladies, you got to stop saying, hey, let me borrow your phone. I need to make a phone call. Don't do that. Do not, under any circumstances, do that. Dude, don't borrow your buddy's phone. Don't even touch your buddy's phone. If you see a dude's phone, leave it alone. Consider it to be a biohazard. Because I'm going to tell you right now, that in and of itself, what are we doing, right? You're at the gym. Well, you know how I feel about that. Like the amount of like stuff that you're getting. I don't even touch my own phone while I'm at the gym working out. I literally don't. I don't pull my phone out. And if I do, it goes into full sanitation mode. I call in a hazmat team. I, clean it top to bottom, whatever it might be, if you have to. So don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't borrow a dude's phone. Ladies, I've never been in your restrooms. I don't know what you do while you're peeing or how your sanitation things go on in there. But just trust me on this one. Leave a dude's phone alone. It's because they're using it while they're pooping or peeing, and B, they're probably not washing their hands after they've pooped or peed, and it's got to be pure bacterial shenanigans is what it's got to be. Speaking of shenanigans, I love you guys. If you do this, don't take this as a negative, please. I mean, it kind of is, but I don't want you to take it that way. But I just want you to hear me say this, so maybe that you won't do it. And it got me thinking, right? Like, because my credit card got bamboozled, and it got me thinking, like, none of your information is safe. People are always worried about that. Like, your email addresses are out there, your credit cards are out there, your social security numbers out there. Like, people have your shit if they want to use it, and they're going to do it, and blah blah blah. But I love it. Like, it's like 2 or 3 times a year this trend kicks off, and I see all these Facebook posts, and it goes something like this: Facebook does not have my permission to use my pictures or post blah 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 for anything, and this is under the Seventh Amendment of the Constitution of Central Paraguay, and if you do, then I will be mad, and therefore please don't touch my guys. Stop reposting these things, and not because you not listen repost, but I'm just it not nobody cares. Right. If you're posting on social media, like anything, Facebook, Instagram, the TikTok, like LinkedIn, like anywhere, if you're on a public platform of that nature, your shit is not safe. It's just not. Like, listen, if somebody uses a picture of you eating a burrito, 4 years ago, then are you really going to be that upset about it? Like, is that what if somebody what if somebody takes a picture of my kids? Don't post your kids on social media. I'm being serious. I'm not trying to be funny on that. Like, I wouldn't. If I had a kid, Thor would probably not be posted on social media. Or if I did, I would just know that, hey, I put a photo of Thor on social media. And yeah, is he the most handsome kid in the world? Yeah. Are people probably going to steal that photo? 100%. Right. But I'd have to live with that. So just know that if you're posting on social media of any kind, like you can put all those things up that you want, like all those, my attorney, first of all, that's another thing. I get a kick out of people saying, well, I'm going to call my attorney. You don't have an attorney, Karen. You don't have a damn attorney. Like none of y'all have attorneys. Like very few people that I know have quote unquote attorneys on retainer. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, yeah, you've seen a billboard, like call 1-800 Johnson if you get in a car wreck, a fender bender. That's not your attorney. Right. So let's stop all that nonsense too. Like nobody out there's got a damn attorney. I mean, some people do. Right. But very few of you guys that are actually saying I'm gonna call my attorney even have an attorney. Right. And stop posting that thing on social media. People are gonna steal your shit, they're gonna steal your shit. Right. You just gotta handle it. All right. But it's out there, right? That's the world we live in today. And I'm not trying to be cynical about it, but it's just true. It's just true. You can't be out there worried about like, well, somebody's gonna take a photo that I posted and they're gonna probably 100% probably. Uh-huh. Just take a little sip of coffee. Sorry about the unnecessary noises there. Just know that's what it was. Let's also talk about things that Jay won't do. And this kind of goes right along with the theme of not using somebody else's phone or touching a dude's phone. I have this weird thing. And if you know me, you know this is true. Lori can vouch for this 1,000%. I don't, and tell me if anybody else is like this, please tell me. I refuse to eat with my hands. I know. And I mean, I know it's weird. I but I can't do it. Like I don't eat anything with my hands. Like I don't eat popcorn. A, because I don't really like it, but B, because it requires you to eat with your hands. Like I eat pizza with a fork and knife. I don't eat burgers. Like I don't eat buns, and so I don't have, it's hard to pick up just a burger patty and look like a Neanderthal. So that luckily I just eat that with a fork and knife. Is it like what are some other foods that people stereotype? I don't eat chicken wings. Like I don't eat if I get chicken wings and they have the bone in them, I literally will deconstruct it with a fork and knife. I'm like a maestro when it comes to that. I think I could have been a sculptor back in the day, back in whenever the sculpting thing was really big, back in the Angelo days and things of that nature, the David and all that jazz, because I'm pretty good with a fork and a knife. Like I'll debone a chicken wing with a fork and a knife like you've never seen. What are other things? I don't eat sandwiches, luckily, so I don't have to eat with my hands. Now, if forced to, there's a caveat. If forced to do it, so let's just say that I was having a piece of pizza, right? I'm thinking about there's sometimes I will get a piece of pizza. There's a place inside the Cosmo called Secret Pizza, and they have these big like New York slices. And I mean, occasionally I'll grab one of those when I'm at the Cosmo, and there's no fork and knife. Probably would be, but there's really no place. It's kind of like one of those you grab it and go, you eat it on the run, or so we'll usually go sit outside in one of the little chairs. But I'll take the little like wrappery thing that they put it on, or I'll get napkins and I'll actually use the napkins as like a little buffer between me and the pizza. And I know you right now, you guys are thinking you're an absolute psychopath. And I mean, at this stage, I can't argue with you. I'm just telling you things I won't do. I'm trying to let you in. I'm trying to pull the curtain back a little bit and let you know what you're dealing with here. I would eat occasionally. I like a good cinnamon roll. That's one of my go-to treats if I'm in a sweet mood. I eat it with a fork and knife. If I ate a donut, I'd probably eat it with a fork and knife. Like I can't think of anything that I'm forced to eat with my hands. I just don't like it. I don't do it. It's not necessarily the germaphobe thing. That's a little bit of it. Like, and I guess I am sort of a germaphobe. I mean, not Howie Mandel level, but I mean, like, I don't like, listen, gross shit is gross shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when they'll say, well, go wash your hands. And I'm like, yeah, but then my hands get that weird smell on them from the food. It's like when I was a kid, I remember like watching my friends eat like Cheetos and stuff, and they would get that orange dust on their fingers. And I would be like, oh my God, I'm about to lose my brain here. I probably had OCD even as a young child, but like, I mean, I tried them like Doritos, like, I was always so grossed out because whatever the remnants of the flavorings would get on your hands and it would get in your fingernails and your hands smell like that for the rest of the day. I'm losing my brain right now, even talking about it. Let's move on. We got to get out of here. Little Buzz Buddy update, little positivity. Let's do a little shout out positivity in here. I already tried to get the sponsorship earlier from the guy who stole my credit card. I'll keep you guys posted on how that goes. But we do have a partnership announcement with BuzzBuddy. So there is a group, an organization, a business, if you will. I think they're based out of Scottsdale, Arizona, but they've got places in like Nashville. I think some other like hot spot places for bachelorette parties. So it's called Girl About Town. They're based out of Scottsdale. Girl About Town, and they basically set up like bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, like girls' weekends, things of that nature. And so I reached out to them like several months ago and said, hey, I think I got a product that would be really good for your parties, your bachelorette parties, and things of that nature. Sent them some samps. They got back. We love them. Now we've started like a partnership, and it's absolutely just, I'm super stoked about it. So wanted to give that shout out to Girl About Town. Megan, appreciate you. You guys are absolutely awesome, and I can't wait to do really cool things with you. So if you're in the mood for a bachelor party or bachelorette party, I don't know if that's a mood thing or if it's actually you got to be doing the. Yeah, anyway, you could fake a bachelorette party. I think I don't know why more people don't do that. Like, hey, it's a anyway. Just know that if you go to Scottsdale, reach out to Girl About Town. They do a fantastic job. You can find them on all the socials, Girl About Town. I think they also have the tag of like Scottsdale or wherever they might be in there. So shout out, appreciate you guys. Let's go from a shout out to a call out. And this isn't really a call out. This is just something that I find humorous. And so I was reading something the other day, and it was talking about Gen Z. And I'm not really like, I know there's like boomers. I'm Gen X, I believe. There's like millennials, Gen Z. I really didn't even know what the age bracket was to be categorized as a Gen Z. But it was talking about like, Gen Z disapproval. Like Gen Z doesn't approve of this, or Gen Z doesn't approve of that. And Gen Z, and it was like big world stuff. It was like, the economic forum of blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. It was like, and then Gen Z is very dissatisfied with that. I'm like, oh shit, I got to find out why Gen Z is so upset. So then I Google and I'm like, hey, what's the age of Gen Z? It's between 13 years old and 28 years old. Now, again, this is not a disparaging comment to a Gen Zer. I don't know many Gen Zers, but I'm putting myself, if when I was 13 years old. Hey, here's my theory on this. If you're 13 years old, you're obviously still living with your parents. And I'm assuming like they didn't really give like qualification of like, are these like late Gen Zers, like your 26, 27, 28-year olds, which I could see, okay, listen, they've got some worldly life experience. Like they've been, they've done some things. They're probably not living with mom and dad. I hope, fingers crossed, mom and dad. But if you're 13 to 21, probably, and maybe even like 23, 24, some of you guys like need to get out of mom's basement. But I don't know. I just don't think if you've never had any real world like life experience that you're qualified. And that's a weird word too, like qualified. What does that mean? Jay, you're being judgy, blah, 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 blah. I think you know what I mean. Like if I ask a 13-year-old how they feel about the beluga whale migration from blah, 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 they're not gonna they want to play Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like the statement that I'm saying that I mean. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a Gen Xer, I think. I think that's like, well, I don't even know what the age demographic or range is for that. Most of us don't know what the hell we're talking about. Like I think humans in general, when they do these polls and they're like, well, Gen X thinks this and baby boomers think that. I've met a bunch of y'all. Like I've met a bunch of baby boomers who are older than me. I don't give a shit what you think. Like I wouldn't ask you for advice on like how to get from A to B. You know what I mean? Like, and so I'm not trying to be, I'm trying to be funny when I say that. I'm not trying to be mean when I say that, but like, gosh, we poll all these people. Like, what do you think about so and so? Like, let's talk about the tariffs and whatnot. What I've found is that most of the people who are talking about things of that magnitude usually don't even have enough knowledge about said thing to give an accurate understanding or presentation on said thing. You know what I mean? And I mean from across the gamut, like from tariffs to this situation to that situation to like it's like it goes back to the dogs, right? It goes back to the dog park. Usually the people barking the loudest have the least amount of information, because those that are highly educated, they're too busy to bark, and they just know there's no value in it. So it's like, if you're a barker, maybe do some like self-reflective thing and be like, what do I really know about this? Like, what kind of questions could I really answer about said situation? If I, like really forced into it. Like, or maybe it was trivia. Maybe there's a trivia about this and there's $1 million on the line. Could I really win the mill? Or am I just running my mouth? You know what I mean? I think you got to really ask yourself those questions. In most instances, I don't know enough about anything to win the million, but I'm also wise enough to know don't know enough about anything to even put myself in that scenario, right? To be the loud barker. So that goes right into my message of the week. And then we're going to get out of here. We're going to move on. We're going to have a beautiful rest of our week. I can guarantee you that. I mean, if you're listening to this show, then it's only up from here. So you got really nothing to worry about. Life only gets better after this. But my theory in life is this: stop worrying about, and this is a little bit I'm contradictory to what I just said, but I think a lot of people are worried about, and I'm going to caveat this: if you're a good human, like if you're an exceptional human, which I know most of you guys are that are listening, only the beautiful of the beautiful listen to this. And I'm not talking about like aesthetically, I'm talking about just good hearts, amazing humans, like just unbelievable people. Yeah, that's who listens to this show. I have no doubt about that. So let's just say this: you're one of those humans. Like, you're a country waver, right? You're waving at people, you're holding doors, you always unrack your weights, you take your shopping cart back, you say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, please and thank you. How's your mom and them? Like, this is one of you. You guys stop worrying so much about what other people think. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times we waste so much of our life worrying about what other people are going to think about what it is that we're thinking about or what we're doing. And the truth is that most people just aren't thinking about us. They're too busy just trying to get through the damn day, trying to get their life going in a direction that's makes them happy. And in actuality and honesty, like, if somebody is thinking about you, it's really none of your damn business. Like, I always tell you, it's none of my business what somebody thinks about me. Caveat: if I am being the best version of myself, right? If I'm living the life that I want to live, which is please and thank you, yes ma'am, no ma'am, hold the doors, country waving, doing all those things, just trying to be the highest quality, high value human that I can be, then it's really none of my business what anybody thinks about me. You know what I mean? Like, people are going to think what they're going to think. Some people are going to think too highly of you, me included. And then some people are going to think too low of you. Like, they're going to have an image of you that's just really not true. And it's probably based on themselves. And so either way that goes, like, neither one of those are really your business, because both of them are going to lead you down a path that's not constructive. And I think as long as you're being that human that I know that you want to be and that I want to be and that we want the world to be like, I think that's the gift, right? That's the thing. So be that human and stop worrying, right? And if you're worried about what I'm thinking about you, just know this: I'm wishing you the absolute best damn life you could ever live, or truly. So if you want to worry about what somebody's thinking about you, just start thinking, I wonder what Jay's thinking about me right now. And you can guarantee you this: is that I want you to live an abundant, positive, happy, healthy, magnificent life where you're treating yourself like the awesome human that you are, and you're treating everybody else with that same standard and that same love. And then that's what everything just gets magical. And I'm going to do the same thing. If I get in one of those moods where I'm like, they're thinking about me today, I'm going to believe that you're thinking those same very beautiful things about me, because that's the kind of human you are. I can tell. I know it. So let's get out of here on this. Love yourself. Love everybody. Be kind. Be nice. Be awesome. And we'll see you next time for another happy hour with Jay. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you in a bit. Bye.